Good afternoon, everyone. So sorry that I wound up having to pop one here just a little late. I went to go and look. You can see all my bins are also empty. Needless to say, apparently my entire area was kind of like pulled apart over the weekend, and I wasn't really thinking about that. Went to go for my tripod, and my daughter has it in her car because she had a photography job over the weekend. Then I also realized that all my stuff was not up because we had shows this past weekend and used those. So y'all are going to get a pretty plain background today, but that is okay because I want to try to get back on this schedule and to stick with it. And I feel like the devil was just trying to be like, no, you don't really have to go on there. You don't really have to get on there and do this video and that kind of thing. And I'm just not going to let him win. So here we are. We're going to do our best. If you're joining us here on the replay, thanks so much for popping in and checking it out. So sorry that we missed you live, but please feel free to go ahead and do a hashtag replay down in the comment stream just so that I know you did get a chance to see it and that you popped on. I so appreciate that. Those of you who, as you come on live, make sure you say hello. Let me know that you're here. Sometimes Facebook makes me aware of those who pop on. Sometimes they do not. So again, it is just helpful. I'm also going to just pop on here real quick. Make sure that my do not disturb is turned on and that my volume is off. Okay. All right, so we are good to go. So again, make sure you say hello when you pop on. Let me know that you are here. So today we are going to talk a little bit about obedience. And I think it's kind of funny. Sorry, I have this one eye that is like watering for some reason. So hey, Joy, thanks for popping in. So I wanted to talk a little bit about obedience because I was listening to a book this morning. It's called All In by Mark Patterson. How appropriate, okay, with given what Premier's theme has been, okay? So if you have not yet read this book, if you've never listened to it, hey Jess, if you've never listened to it, I highly recommend that you check it out. I actually have been listening to it on Audible. Hey, Jenny. And I just love being able to do that because truthfully what I do is I turn it on while I'm doing my makeup or curling my hair or things like that so that I'm kind of, you know, multitasking at its best, right? So one of the things that he was talking about this morning, and even something that we were discussing even through our sermon at church yesterday, was obedience. So I want to just kind of touch on that real quick because here's the thing. So often we want to only obey what God has called us to do if it's something that is comfortable. Okay. So often we want to, well, God, I don't really know how to do that. So like, what if I do it this way? I know you called me to do this, but what if I instead do it like this? Because that isn't comfortable for me, okay? Mark Patterson. So think batter, like a baseball batter, okay? So Patterson. It is a phenomenal book. And he has lots of other great ones. The first one that I ever read of his was In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. That's another great one. Talk about a lot of faith. Okay, it is a great, great book. But so we were, kind of discussing how this whole thing with obedience, like when God calls us to do something, he calls us to do that, not to bargain with him in some way, shape, or form and kind of put it out there as like, well, I know you're calling me and kind of like pushing me in the direction. Maybe it's pushing you in the direction of Facebook shows. And you're kind of dragging your feet like, no, because I really don't want to have to learn how to do that. I know that's kind of where you're calling me. And it seems like people are, popping up asking me, hey, do you happen to offer this? And I keep saying, no, that's not really something that I've gotten into just yet. And that kind of, and we tend to just keep, kind of taking away everything that he's calling us to do and saying, but I don't want to do that because it doesn't feel comfortable. Or I don't want to do that because it might make me have to do things I've never done before. And I don't know how to do that. And I'm not qualified to do that. So I probably shouldn't do that. And that's not the thing, because here's one of the things that we have to remember. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. So if he is calling you to do something, he is already lining things up in such a way that he is going to give you the resources you need. He's going to give you the skills that you need. He's going to give you all that. But you have to be willing to be obedient, okay? You have to be willing to say, yes, Joy, Mark Patterson, you got it. So we have to be willing to say, okay, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Okay. So here's the other thing, is that many times when it comes to that obedience in our business, we want to know what the second and third steps are before we have faith and take that first one. Like, we want to know, okay, well, if I do this, what am I going to get out of it? If I do this, then what? Instead of just saying, okay, God is leading me to do this, so I don't really know how, I don't really know when, I don't really know what's going to come of this, but I'm going to do it, okay? And we need to just be willing to do that. We need to just be willing to say, okay, God, you're calling me to this. I'm going to take that first step, and then you can show me the next, okay? But instead, we're kind of like, now listen, I get it. You know, it's not always comfortable to take that next step if you can't see the staircase kind of thing. I get it. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It can absolutely be done, especially if God is the one leading the way. Like, you know, kind of allow him to be your seeing eye person, if you will. That even when you don't understand what's coming, even when you can't see what's coming, if you are allowing him to guide you, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have all the vision that he has. You never could. And if you could, trust me, you would be so stinking overwhelmed and so just blown away at what he actually has in store for you. But you have to be willing to move. Y'all have heard me say this several times as well, that don't ask God to guide your footsteps if you're unwilling to move your feet. If you are telling him, you know what, I'm going to stay right here until you do something different in my business, y'all, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. Here's the thing. God is calling you to take that first step. And that first step is probably going to be talking to people. It's going to be getting yourself out there. It's going to be pulling your jewelry out of your jewelry kit. And here's the thing. There are many of you who you have not even pulled your jewelry out of your kit in the longest time. There are some of you who, even though the collection, the catalog rather, came out in July and then came out again in September with the Christmas line, there are some of you who have not even purchased new catalogs. There are some of you who still, if you were to look at the inventory of what you have for supplies, you might still have hostess forms that only have one way of shipping, which is $4 on it. How can you possibly be able to do business and possibly be ready to go to that next step and have God help you to that next step of actually doing business if you're not even prepared to do business? Okay? Some of you, your friends might even question whether or not you are still in the business because you've even stopped taking the steps of talking to people. So this isn't intended to be a slap in the face, wake up kind of thing, but it is intended to say you have got to be willing to take each step as God is leading you in a certain direction, because he will not reveal the second or the third or the fourth until you have completed the steps before that. He's not going to. And how many things might you be missing out on if you're not doing it? Okay. So as an example, one of the things that Mark Patterson was talking about is he was referencing even Noah, that, you know, this whole building of the ark, that was a step of faith, because he was prepping for a natural disaster that had never, in the history of the earth, had never happened. So what kind of faith did that take for him to say, now listen, y'all, I'm going to have to build this boat because there is going to be a flood coming. And those of you who are not on the boat, you don't get to go. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand, like, people had to be looking at him like, you're nuts. There's a what coming? There's a flood? What does that even mean? What do you mean it's going to rain for 40 days? It hasn't rained in Lord knows how long, okay? So that in of itself took faith. But y'all, in order for this to happen, this wasn't just like an overnight Noah building the ark. This was something that took him years. If I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking Mark said that it took him like 125 of his years to create this ark. Okay, now I could be wrong on that number, so don't shoot me if that's wrong, but you think about it, okay? He had to first plant the trees, wait for the trees to become fully mature, and then cut the trees to make the planks that he needed, and then build this ark that was large enough to hold, I believe Mark said, 125,000 animals. Okay? Think about that. And it might not even been 125,000 animals. It might have been 125,000 pairs. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But y'all, I was like my mind was just like, so that's why I was not able to retain all of the exact details. So please go listen to the book so you can find out what that says. But yes, 100 years of obedience. Y'all, some of you cannot even do 30 days of obedience. Some of you cannot even do, and when I say some of you, remember I'm talking to myself as well. Okay, so let me rephrase that to say some of us cannot even do 30 days of obedience. We cannot even do 1 week of obedience. We cannot even sometimes do 5 minutes of obedience. Sometimes we cannot even do the 20 seconds of obedience because truthfully, if you allowed yourself to have just 20 seconds of courage and faith in God when he's calling you to do something and you take that step, well, then he can reveal the next. And then he can reveal the next. But unless you're even going to trust him with that first thing, he can't give you more. All right? Some people are going, why is God not blessing my business? Why is he not bringing people my direction? Why am I not getting shows on the calendar? Why am I not selling any jewelry? Well, before you look at those things, you have to first ask yourself, what are you even doing to be able to get to the point of being able to do any of those things? Are you talking to people? Are you showing the jewelry? Are you wearing the jewelry? Okay, you'd be amazed how many jewelry ladies I know that don't wear the jewelry. Well, you can't sell it if you don't wear it. You can't advertise for it if you don't wear it. Okay, you get my drift? Okay, so we have to be willing to take those steps of obedience because here's the thing, especially for those of you who are believers. Please remember that partial obedience is still disobedience. So if God is calling you and saying, I need you to do this, and you're going, oh God, listen, I would love to do that for you, but I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not qualified. I don't have the right skills. I don't have the right resources. I don't have anything to do that yet. And God keeps going, I need you to do this. And you're going, but no, I can't. But listen, I'll do this. Like, if you'll just side table that request for a moment and allow me to do it this way, listen, I'll get right on it. And I will do it in the way that is comfortable for me. Well, listen, God can't give you what you've never had if you're not willing to do things that you've never done. It doesn't work that way. So if you are only being partially obedient by saying, okay, God, I feel like you're leading me. You're telling me that I should set myself a big goal. You keep putting this dream in my head, telling me that I should have a goal of sharing the business with 30 people in 1 month. But you know what? I don't even know that I know 30 people. So I don't know that I can share the business opportunity with 30 people. So I tell you what, I'm going to make a goal to share with 2 people each week. How's that? Can we do it like that? Okay. And y'all, that is partial obedience, which is still disobedience. Listen, God wants to bless us in amazing ways, and he wants to use us in amazing ways to not only further his kingdom, but to be a blessing to other people overall. And if we're just saying, well, let me just over here, let me just do it like this, when he's actually calling you to do it like this, okay, we are being disobedient in doing that. Okay. I also want you to think about the fact, and this is something else that's mentioned in the book. And again, for anybody who's just now popping on, I highly encourage you to either purchase or get on Audible or something. The book, it's called All In by Mark Patterson. Okay. And you can find his name in the comments because Miss Joy put that there for us. So thank you for doing that. But one of the other things that he was talking about in there is like basically our dream has to be so big that it is totally impossible without divine intervention. And if that is not what our dream is, then we're not even relying on God for our business, for the success of our business. We are saying, no, we got this. We got this. Listen, I can schedule 1, maybe 2 shows a month. I've got that. I don't need to set my goals higher because I know that's something that realistically I can do. Listen, if the only thing you are setting your goals for is realistic goals, you're not setting big enough goals, and therefore you're not depending on God. You're not asking God into your business. And then you are also not able to bring glory and honor to him when what we thought was impossible happens. We then try to take all the credit. Because if it's something that's within our own power, then why do we need to rely on God? So I want you to even think about the necklace, the Dream Builder necklace that Premier came out with. I want you to think about the fact that it has the little frog on there. Okay, so the frog stands for a couple of things. One of the things is it stands for the acronym of fully rely on God. How funny that Premier would put something that stands for an analogy of fully rely on God on a necklace called Dream Builder. I mean, come on. It does not get much better than that, okay? They are telling us, like, listen, if you want your dreams to come true, if you want to build your dreams, then you need to fully rely on God. But the frog also stands for something else. It also stands for growth and change. And in order for our business to change, we have to be willing to grow. In order for our dreams to become reality, we have to be willing to change and grow. It cannot happen otherwise. So that's what I have for y'all today. Again, so sorry that I was a couple minutes late. I'm gonna have to talk to my daughter, find out where my tripod is exactly so I don't have to try and rig things up. My hope is to be here with you again on Wednesday at 12. And of course, the only reason why I say that is because God willing, I will be able to be here at 12 o'clock on Wednesday to be able to meet with y'all again for another live video. So for those of you who popped on here, thank you so very much. I so appreciate your time. For those of you who came on here for the replay, again, so sorry that we missed you live. Hopefully we'll be able to catch you live one of these times, but I do appreciate you coming back in to check this out. I will also be taking a little bit of time today to make sure that all the live videos that I have done in here are properly uploaded to my YouTube page so that I can share the YouTube links back. So just in case you have some Premier family that is not currently in this group and you'd like to share any of these messages with them, that you can feel free to do so. And again, thank you guys so much. I pray that you have a blessed day and look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Have a good one.